This daf Yerushalmi Eruvin in the article Osvar edition with daf Mem Daled Amud Aleph, the sixth line down. Adaiti Rabbi Mana, and in the Vilna around daf Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, where the same line appears, 4 lines in the top. So we had yesterday several opinion statements, which were at the end of the last Amud, which actually at the top of this Amud, according to the article, which flowed one from each other. So the first one was that Rabbi Achab Shem Rav said, "Look, ben Tadoi." That was on the both in the article and in the Vilna on the previous Amud. So then then we had Rabbi Achab Shem Rabbi Zira said, "Aser ben Tadoi Meir." Then we had Haydn Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Mana, and Rabbi Mana said that it's Rabbi Meir do Amar the Erev, they should need both. It's not like one is going through this chain of statements. So when it says Al Daiti Rabbi Mana, based on Rabbi Mana, who said that the Rabbi Meir, which we're referring to as Rabbi Meir, who says that you need both Erev and Shetuv, Ki Rabbi Zira. And according to and that is going back to the prior statement, that's the shot in Rabbi Zira when he says "Atzab listen like Rabbi Meir." It's going like this Rabbi Meir. Then you require Shetuv. Al Daiti the Rav, and going back to the first statement in the sequence, which said Rav Paskin look like Elizabeth Tadoi. So it comes out that Rav is paskining Rabbi Meir. Al Daiti the Rav Rabbi Meir. So Al Daiti the Rabbi Meir Rabbi Zira. Al Daiti the Rav. Going backwards in the three statements, it comes out that Rav Paskin Rabbi Meir, and that you would need both Erev and Shituf. And Rabbi Zira Shem Yechon said, "Eruvin Tanios Tzibur Nagu Akol Rabbi Meir." In Eruvin, and it's Tanios Tzibur says the Korah Eda, the Eruvin is an Erev Bein and Shituf. You need both. Tanios Tzibur that by Mincha and Neila Yeshua and the Siyas Kapayim we duchan by Mincha and by Neila on a Tainis. And the Rabbi Yaakov Shem Yosef Megillas Esther Nagu Hakol Rabbi Meir. And here the Korah Meir explains that the Omar the boy Likros Kula. You have to read the entire Megillah. Now, why is the Chiddush here is that even though normally Halacha Divrei Meiko Be'eruv, but this minhag is Oikar the Halacha. So it's a minhag to Yimachmir, like Rabbi Meir, and require both Erev and Shituf. That is the sense of Nagu Am. So even though normally Halacha Divrei Meiko Be'eruv, we're not in this specific aspect. Okay, Halacha above. Chamesh Chaburos Shabsu B'Traklin. You have 5 groups of people who spend Shabbos in the Traklin, which is a large hall. And they divide it up with walls, but these walls in the ratio do not reach the roof. So the Chamesh Chaburos Shabsu B'Traklin Echad, the one large hall. Beishama Omrim Erev Kol Chabura. Each one makes its own. Each Chabura makes its own. Has to give its own eruv. The Carbonate explains, not as simple as it seems verse. Each one of the chaburas has to give a piece of low bread to the eruv in the chotzer. It's like it's 5 separate houses. For the also internally in the traklin, if they want to take from one of the mechitzas to the other mechitzas, they need to make an eruv among them. Again, 2 aspects of this. It doesn't mechitza doesn't divide rishos. Mechitza shveloi, it's a low mechitza. One contribution of bread serves all 5 groups for the Erev Chotzer, and we talk Traklin, Nami Motzim Mizu Bla Erev Traklin Chabram. Within the Traklin itself, they don't need an internal Erev because the Traklin unites them all together. Umodim, however, Shemitzot and Shum Chadorim Balios, that if they are in completely separate rooms, right? That some of them are in these rooms, some of them in upper floors. They're separate rooms. There are full mechitzas between them. So then each chabur is separate. Each one has to contribute its own bread to the communal eruv, and also they need an eruv to carry internally from room to room. Okay. Says the Gemara. Trachlin name. The trachlin is before these cubicles. Like the chutz of a house. So therefore, in order, they need an eruv for, according to Yerushalmi, even with their low walls, according to Beisel, where they're full walls. So they need each one to participate in an eruv in order to carry from one to the other, and so they carry to the chutz. Hayusham papilinios. So this is if you have their papilinios. And the Pnei Moshe says, "Kach nikrab lazim chitza mafsekes ke'ein ohel uverabba pasuk v'hi biyom klos Moshe enkli daber im biti b'faresya el asel papillon v'hem medamer to papillon." And then this is talking about a full cubicle. In other words, the mechitzas go all the way up to the roof. So here in the Perush Chai you have, this is the trachlin without the full roofs down there on the bottom there, without the full walls, right, just low walls. And here's the trachlin over here with curtains which make it go fully divided up to the roof of the trachlin. The picture on the bottom. Okay, so the the papillas was like separate houses, even according to Beisel. So what are you talking about, says Gemara? How high are these papillas? They in fact all the way up to the roof. If these curtains reach all the way up to the ceilings, so each chabura is separate. In that case, scenario over there, which we just saw the picture in the Perush Chai. Ain't some papillas magis korosif. On the other hand, these curtains do not reach all the way up to the ceiling. So then everybody agree it's one area for all together, even according to Beis Shammai. Right. So what's the machlekes? If it's low curtains, everybody should agree you only need one eruv. If it's high curtains, everybody should get individual eruvin. Or that they should participate separately. Again, says Gemara, you know what the machlekes based on Beis Shammai is in the following case. Paplenius gevos hasora. The paplenius were 10 tefachim high. Don't have really a picture of it, but I mean, I guess in this picture over here, they're 10 tefachim high. And that's why you drew them 10 tefachim high. So that's machlokes Beis Hillel Beis Shammai in that case. Okay. So it's not exactly 10 tefachim. The Pnei Korah and Pnei Moshe were both explained. If it's what actually comes out is that if the mechitzas go all the way up to the roof, so everybody agrees it separates. If the mechitzas are lower than 10 tefachim, everybody agrees they don't separate. In the mechitzas, the curtains are between 10 tefachim and not the rooftop, and somewhere lower than the roof, and it's not specified exactly how close to the roof. Maybe they're within lower of the roof. 3 tefachim, that's what he said, considers if it separates. So let's assume it's not within 3 tefachim of the roof. If it's between 10 tefachim high and more than 3 tefachim away from the roof, so then everybody agrees that's the machlekes. In that case, the machlekes Beis Hillel Beis Shammai, are they all separate or are they all united? Now, shoving, but they all agree. Beis Hillel Beis Shammai shimu shutfim beisa v'tavshil. Now, the way unfortunately explained, at least in Reb Chaim, it's explicit. By the way, it seems everybody would hold the same thing. Not the means where they have a common kitchen. The food preparation, the dough and the cooking, the baking and the cooking takes place in a common location that unites them. The Isa and the Tavshil, the fact that their food preparation is united, even though they have separate cubicles to sleep or whatever, The fact that all united in the place that they eat, they prepare the food. That's not that they don't need erev internally, and they only need to participate with one loaf of bread to the external erev. Okay, so Rabbi Shimon said, okay, if that's the case, Rabbi Shimon boy, not if you mix us shrim chadorim or baliyas, it should apply also if some of them are in the rooms and some of them are on the upper floors. So either one doesn't answer, or the way the article learns it, he learns that boy here is actually a statement that it's menichusa. It's saying this works also for chadorim and aliyos. So it's a question not answered, which would lead to the assumption that that's the way we pass it. As I said many times, boy in the Yerushalmi could also be a statement, and this is a statement. He brings down both pshatim. He brings that either it's either question or a statement. Rechaim does bring down the alternative pshat afterwards that Isa Tavshil is and the actually is talking about literal food, dough and cooked dish, and the article actually does bring that down. He goes according to Reb Chaim, that second shot, Reb Chaim. Then only afterwards does he bring down the first shot of Reb Chaim as an alternative shot. Okay, says Gemara, B'Shem Rabbi Yehuda said, Shnei batim zeh lifnim mizeh. You have two houses, one inner to the other one, and it's like a railroad flat in the old tenements. There's a picture in the article. The bayis pnimi is only open to the bayis achitzon, which then opens into the chotzer. It's the bayis pnimi, opens into the bayis chitzon, which then opens into the chotzer. Okay, see that? So, if the inner one, which has anyway Jewisas regular on the outer one, then the outer one doesn't have to participate in Eruv. So in the Pnimi, which because the Chitzon would just close it off. Say, okay, you guys can't come through here on Shabbos. So therefore, the Pnimi has to participate in the Eruv. I don't know if I said that right. Let's look at the Chumrei. It makes it much more simple. It says, "Enachin tzorich la'ariv naska beishar pnimi." When the pnimi is makes eruv, so the chitza comes like a beishar. By dasham in osa b'nei chotzer kimat b'nei levado. So only the inner one has to make the eruv, because and then the outer one comes like a beishar. But it's made the eruv in the chitzon, so then you can't make an eruv in a beishar. So then it doesn't work for the pnimi. The pnimi has to be mitzvah on its own. And the Bnei Moshe says something similar. Because I've been made tzorim. It's a very strange Gemara. The what does it mean? Made tzorim. The Korban Eda says so. Lasha made tzorim of a sadeh. So I made tzorin. I made tzorin chalifin. Also made tzorin chalifin. So what does it mean? When somebody sells to his friend, makes two houses. So then one internal to the other. It's the opposite. How so? In other words, nasa means to make a kinyan. It says so he marks it in the inner one to acquire it, and the outer one lo kon achitzon, didn't acquire the chitzon. Because the outer one doesn't require the inner one, so the inner one doesn't work for the outer one. Nasa chitzon, but he did a kinyan in the outer one, and you don't have to make a kinyan on the inner one. As Korban says, "Hichzi b'chitzon likno shtem konashtem." That pnimi tzorich lachitzon Jesus raglo, because the pnimi needs a chitzon for Jesus raglo. So meitzorim here is the lashon of the meitzorim means like a meitzori asodeh, how you acquire the boundaries of a field. So to hear how you acquire the boundaries of the house is, but if you go machzik in the chitzon, works the pnimi by machzik in the because the because the pnimi needs the chitzon. If you're machzik the pnimi, they're not calling the chitzon because the chitzon doesn't require the pnimi. Hope I said that right. If you let me say again, if you're machzik pnimi it's required and the chitzon, you do not require the chitzon because the chitzon is not required pnimi. Machzik the chitzon require both of them. You require both of them because the pnimi needs the chitzon for drisa sarego. There are many other pshatim what this word the word meitzorim here means. The article says it means meitzorim mamish. In other words, we shifted gears and not talking about houses and using meitzorim as kind of a mushal, but using talking about the meitzorim of fields. They're putting stuff on the borders of fields in order to raise them up, which is a manner of making a kinyan by raising up the fences. Chaim says, like we said, that it's talking about the meitzar is a similar phenomenon to the meitzar of a field as the meitzar of a house. So put it out as Mashbiach as a stunning shot here. He says it's not meitzar, it's Mitzrayim. And it's about the Chachmei Mitzrayim. And evidently there he brings down from the Seder HaMaroim, the Tanoim HaMaroim who lived in Mitzrayim, Chanan HaMitzri, and Yom Das HaMil, Chanan El HaMitzri in Porah, Pergil Mishnah Hey. And so he brings down famous Gemara Gittin that there are many Jews living in Alexandria. And so the word, so here means, Ap Mitzrayim, so to those who lived in Egypt, or he wants to say af here means ubezu. In this manner, the b'mitzrayim they said chalifin. Nasa pnimi gave the Eruvin the pnimi tzorach litan chitzon. You have to give on the chitzon nasa chitzon tzorach litan pnimi. Whatever reason they reversed the svaras, but it's pretty radical to say that it's chachmei mitzrayim. And then of course you would have to explain why they would switch the switch who has to give the eruv. The article just says Re'eh Mashbiach. Okay, next Gemara, something's got to give in the gear. So the article goes with the Gillian Ephraim's change. I'm going to go with Chaim. Rabbi Yaakov Bracha, Rabbi Avosh, Yerushalmi Eruvin said, "Afilu lo irei v'apnimi." Even if the pnimi didn't make an eruv, enachin tzorich l'ariv, the outer one does not make the does not make an eruv. Lama nasa beishar. Why? Because beishar. Now the Chaim does say that if the pnimi didn't get an eruv, such as when the pnimi doesn't answer, such as where he's not in the house, he's away for Shabbos or something. The chitzon doesn't have to give an eruv, because this chitzon doesn't answer b'nei chotzer. Why doesn't it answer b'nei chotzer? Because it's because of the unique configuration of this railroad flat arrangement. The chitzon becomes like a beishar to the pnimi, and the halacha is that a beishar doesn't have to participate in eruv. So it says, "Afilu eruv pnimi ena chitzon tzorich l'ariv lama nasa beishar." Milsa Amura, this teaches us, here we go with the Reb Chaim changes, that yesh beit shar liyachid. A beit shar is not just a structure, a gatehouse which is in front of multiple dwellings. Normally beit shar is an opening to a chatzar. No, here it's a beit, even though there's only a single dwelling, the pnimi behind this chitzon, it becomes a beit shar for a yachid. Yesh beit shar yachid, and a beit shar does not answer, it doesn't have to participate in Erev. Milsa de Rav Amara, the words of Rav tell us that the Ein Beishar Liyachid, that there is no Beishar Liyachid. What's the Rav say? The Mar Rabbi Yehuda Mar Rabbi Shem Rav Had Temar Beishar Rabim. Again, change the gears like Reb Chaim does. So they Beishar Rabim, that which you say that there's. You put an eruv in the beishar that the beishar. It's not about eruv. That's a beishar the rabim, beishar of multiple dwelling places. Avo Beishar the Yachid, but if it's a Beishar Yachid, change gears like Reb Chaim does. Hareza Eruv, it is about Eruv. This is considered to be an Eruv because there's no such thing as Beishar for Yachid. It's only Beishar for a Rabbim who live beyond the Beishar, not for an individual. But since it's only Beishar for an individual, Adorsham Hareza Osar Love. So he lives in this Beishar of a Yachid, does Aser. Because he's not living in Beishar. There's only Beishar of a Rabbim. If a person is Beishar Rabbim, it's not considered to be a Makom Dira. It's a entryway, and therefore he wouldn't answer. He's camping out inappropriately. Does not considered to have a Dira there. But this is no such as Beishar Yachid. This person living in what is tantamount to the Beishar of an individual dwelling, he does Aser. Okay, next is going to look like a Pnei Moshe, that it's a separate case. The Rabbi Shem said, if you have two people live in a house, one of them has the reshus, he has the authority over the house. The other one has no authority. In other words, Reuven has the authority. He can be Misalik Shimon, who does not have the authority anytime he wants. If Reuven, who has the authority, who participates in Eruv, then the other guy who's like, even though he's living there, since he doesn't have his own independent authority there, he's included in the Eruv. Let's call him Shimon. Shimon's Reuven's Eruv. And vice versa, if Shimon participates in Eruv, since he really has no authority and Reuven can move at any time, the person who does have the authority does not permit it. In other words, the Eruv is not null and void and ineffective. And we don't say, let's come name Moshe hands, you don't say like Skiro Lakito. I don't say that he can, well, depending on, we might say this by Skiros Rishus. If he's a Skiro Lakito, I'm not sure whether we're saying, I'm not sure what we're saying here. We're saying that there's no concept of Schiro Lakito by Eruv, and therefore this doesn't work. Or are we saying, no, there's not a Schiro Lakito? I think it's probably the latter. It's not a Schiro Lakito. He's not authorized. He has no authorization. That's the way Moshe says, Ein lo Rishus. So the person there, the second person in the Rishus, so there he's not a Sachir, not a Lakit. Therefore his participation in Eruv is meaningless. Okay, Allah Chazayin. Ha'achin shutfim, the brothers who are shutfim. So either it's lavdafka or it's or you have to take out the word shutfim altogether, because the main point is they're brothers. Ha'achin shayu ochlin al shulchan aviyim. I don't know if one of the article takes it out. Probably not. He does. He takes it out. Okay. He takes it all together. Right. So Achin. So Achin, they're eating with a table of Yishem Batem, and they're sleeping in their own houses. They're not united since they go home, and therefore each one has to participate in Erev separately. And of course they're all in the same chutzner. Therefore, if one of them forgets it, does not participate in Erev, Peter Rishuso. He has to mevatel his Rishus in order to be able to carry there. When is this true? They bring the Erev elsewhere. The Erev is going to some other area, and therefore each one has to participate individually. But the Erev came to them, meaning to the house, where their the father's house, where they eat. Then, there aren't other people in the chotzer, so then they don't have to make their own individual. They don't participate individually in the Eruvin. Chaim explains that when they bring the Erev to elsewhere to put in one of the other houses chotzer, since they require an Erev, the Gemara says in the Bavli Migo, since the other Durim have to participate in Erev, they also require to participate in Erev. But if the Erev, the entire chotzer comes to the house of their father, and the house of father therefore does not require participate in the Erev, because the house in which the Erev is placed does not have to participate with bread. So there, in that situation, the fact that they're smuchim shulchan aviyim means that they're all considered to be nimshach after him, and they're all considered to be part of that house in which the eruv is placed. And if they're also there's nobody else in the yard at all, so there's no migo. That since anyway the other people are bringing bread, so then also they're united by the fact that they all eat together, that the brothers eat together in their father's house. And that brings us to the next Amud, so we can stop here for today.